Mabuhay! And good day everyone! We will talk about civil law and commercial law. First, let's talk about civil law. Civil laws are part of the legal system that deals with people's relationship, property, and business agreements. Meaning, it refers to the principles that regulate the legal relationship and relationship that citizens establish with each other in their private lives. An example of the tourism industry is the law that protects tour guides and tour participants. In hospitality industry, there is also law that protects hotel management and the guest. The importance of civil law to tourism is civil law poses sustainable tourism for the country. Hence, it helps in promoting and providing a space safe for tourists and indigenous people residing in some tourist attractions. Also, civil law recognizes the family of indigenous people who are guided, trained, educated, and well-being of their children following the rights of children. Just like family of Apu Wangod and the family of the Ifugao tribe. And let me give the mic to the next presenter. Hi! Good morning! I thought maybe we should build a business together.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love to manage and operate a hotel. So, what type of business?
Yes, since we will contribute money for a common fund, I think partnership, it's our business type.
I agree. Maybe we should not have a written contract since we agree verbally.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
Mabuhay. So now let me talk about contracts. So what is contracts? Under Article 1305, a contract is a meeting of minds between two persons. For there to be a valid contract, there are three elements that must be present. The first one is consent, second is object, and third is cause. So now let's move on to the stages of contracts. So there are multiple stages of contracts. The first one is called preparatory. So this means it is the process of making something, like negotiating with your co-partner. Second is the perfection or birth. So in the perfection of birth, there are now enough people who will agree on the subject to make the decisions. The third is the consumption or death. So this means that the terms and conditions are already been there in the contract and already been have met. Or in short, it is also means that the contract is officially done. So now let's move on to the characteristic of contracts. Know that the characteristic of contracts are also important. The first one is freedom to contract. Freedom to contract means the right to make a formal agreements. Next is relativity. Relativity indicates that a contract can only be create rights and responsibilities for the parties. Third is obligation force. Obligation force implies to the legal responsibilities for the parties to keep their commitments that they agreed on the contract. And the fourth and final is mutuality. So mutuality simply means that these are the a contract that agrees by the parties. So that's all. I hope you understand a little bit of the contract. And now let me give the mic to the next presenter.
Mabuhay. Next is corporation. According to the Corporation Code of the Philippines, a corporation is an artificial being created by operation of law, having the right of succession and powers, attributes and properties expressly authorized by law, or incident to its existence. The corporations in tourism industry may refer to transportation companies, theme park companies, tour agencies, and other businesses. Good day, Mr. Bon. How are you?
Hi, Miss Park. I feel great. Thank you for that. So I have seen your company, especially your tour offerings. The tour packages are great, and also I have met your staff and I'm impressed. So basically, I wanted to invest 50,000 in your company. What do you think?
Thank you for appreciating our products and trusting in our companies. The distinct characteristics of corporation to highlight in relation to the definition of corporation and the previous role play are these. First, shareholders has a limited liability. Second, the shares can be transferred to another person. And third, the management is delegated under a board structure. Before, corporation typically involved a group of people including incorporators, board of directors, and stockholders. But now, a single person may come up with an one-person corporations in the Philippines. And this sums up the discussion of civil law and commercial law in relation to the tourism and hospitality industry.
Mabuhay warriors! After discussing the civil law, let's tackle the commercial law. Commercial law, or also called the mercantile or trade law, this law governs the rights, relations, and conduct of a person and a business engaged in commerce, merchandising, trade, and sales. In simple words, it regulates the juridical relations arising in commercial acts. It considered to be a branch of civil law and address the issues of both private and public law. Partnership is governed by and covered under Article 1767 to 1867 of Civil Code of the Philippines. But to easily understand the commercial law, we will know the difference between the partnership and corporation that will be discussed in this video. Partnership is defined by the Article 1767 of Civil Code of the Philippines as a contract between two or more persons that agree to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. Second paragraph of the Article 1767 indicates two or more persons may also form a partnership for the exercise of a profession. A partnership is a separate legal entity from that of a members in a partnership according to Article 1768 of Civil Code, even in the case of failure of registering to Securities and Exchange Commission. It is also formed by agreement or consent, either written or verbal. This must have a lawful purpose, thus creation of partnership must not be contrary or forbidden by law. As to its object, a partnership is either universal or particular. As regards to the liability of partners, a partnership may be general or limited. Also, the life of partnership will end or automatically dissolve as one of the partner died and if the contract ends like in the fixed term partnership. Lastly, partnership exists in tourism industry, as we all know that there are several business involved in tourism. That's it for the partnership, but before that, for us to understand further how partnership is created and how it is related to tourism, then let's watch this.
Mabuhay! I will be discussing the general law on property. According to the Article 414 of the Civil Code of the Philippines, all things which are or may be the object of appropriation is considered as property. So basically, property is something that can be owned, whether open to public ownership, private ownership, or the property has no known owner but is capable of being owned, then that thing is considered as property. These are the common terms you must know on the general law on property. So first is tangible property, which basically anything that cannot be touched, whether it is a real property or personal property. On the other hand, intangible property are anything that cannot be touched and has no physical substance, such as statutory creations, copyrights, rights, trademarks, and patents. Next term, consumable and non-consumable things. So consumable things basically are those things that depletes during their consumption. For example of this is food and clothing. Non-consumable things are those things that depletes naturally over time. For example of this is land, house, car, and furniture, etc. Next is fungible and non-fungible things. So fungible things are those things that can be replaced of another but the same kind. Example of this is money or the paper currency. Non-fungible things, on the other hand, are those things that the purpose is not to replace but to return the exact or the same thing. Let us always remember the Article 3, Section 1 of the Civil Code of the Philippines, which states that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and or property without the due process of law, because our rights is as important as our life.